You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging out with you guys. And actually, sitting across from the man, the myth, the legend, Joseph Dipace. What's up, dude?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me on the show today. I appreciate you having me out here today.
Welcome to the jungle, dude. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Middle of the summer here. It's the home stretch of the season. And, so what makes or breaks us right here.
Amen, dude. Well, it's late August while we're doing this episode. Actually, in full disclosure, big shout out to Joseph here because he traveled over to my house to do another episode here. We actually did one, in the winter, like it was like January, February. But half the stuff that we talked about was like COVID related and the audio was a little quiet. And so I just said, hey, dude, I really respect you, your opinion. I want to get your message out there. So why don't you come on over and we'll kind of redo an episode. And I was going to come to you and you said, no way, dude, it's a good excuse for me to ride my bike over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome, man. Well, we're going to jump into it here a little bit, talk about your background, your story. Why don't you get these guys up to speed, just maybe like 60-second kind of cliff notes about who you are, where you're at, and maybe what your business looks like today, and then we'll break it down.
Okay, great. Yeah, my name's Joseph Dipace. I'm the owner of Beppes Lawn Care in Shelby Township, Michigan. Started doing landscaping, lawn care, heavily being involved in the green industry starting like 2014.
Okay.
A few years prior, I was working at a pizzeria, local franchise here, and I remember working a shift and coming home and I would like snow blow driveways.
Yeah.
And then I was approached by someone I actually work with at the pizzeria. He had a landscape company and I would do snow with them, subcontracting, and then did quite a bit of work, and then actually brought me on board to work for him that season in 2014 of, cutting grass and landscaping, pruning. And so...
How old were you then? Like you said,
I was 18, in 2014.
Okay. And how old are you now?
24.
I bet that'd be 6 years later, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, those were kind of the beginnings of it. And then after that season, I was still subcontracting snow. My clientele for the snow list just got, up to like 40 or 50. And,
okay.
Started talking to them about doing lawn and snow. And so then it just led to me starting Beppes by the end of 2014.
Okay.
And, just kind of going for it,
Yeah.
Not that nobody knows your name, but nobody knows you do the services. So you have to let them know you do. Put out postcards and mailboxes.
The whole thing.
So...
Man, that's awesome.
I would do, Monday, Tuesday, maybe put in a small retaining wall and a plant install. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I would, mow my route. Then it kind of got spread thin with the services. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to just stick to lawn care services. So then I changed my company. It was actually Beppes Landscaping, changed it to lawn care.
Okay.
That was 16, 17, I believe, 2017.
Okay. So halfway through. Yep.
And then... just recently, a couple years ago, I was, mowing lawns and doing, the thatching, aeration. I said, you know what, I'm kind of interested in the fertilizer because there were so many companies that the
right.
lawns I was on would fertilize. So I started, I bought the books and, took in Michigan, it's called the CARTS, the exam, took that, got my personal applicator's card, and then there was a couple more hoops to jump through to get the business license. I just for the previous 2 years, I had to work for somebody for 2 years,
yep.
or you go get a bachelor's degree,
yep,
or comparable education. It's kind of a cloudy area, whatever.
Well, we're going to break all that down because I know a lot of these guys, they want to know because there's a lot of guys that are, lawn mowing guys, and then they do landscaping, and it always seems to be like this fork in the road, right? And you already know what I'm going to say next, but a lot of guys get into like brick pavers and retaining walls and like the hardscaping because there's bigger money. And then the other guys, the other like half or third, they get into treatments. So a lot of fertilizing, pesticide application, a lot of the stuff that, I got great subcontractor friends, Mike Bedell. And so this is the stuff that you've broken into the last, 18 to 24 months, you were saying?
Yeah. So this will be like the third year. So I worked for somebody part-time for 2 years to get that experience, to obtain the business pesticide license. And it's been, a lot of sacrifices and a lot of, hurdles to jump through. But I tell everybody that asks me, how do I get my hands on the books? How do I said, well, don't be in it just for the profit, of the service. Like, yes, it's great service to provide, but it's also, you're putting down stuff with
chemicals.
A label, and there's a law, and there's a lot of
red tape and things you got to do correctly,
and mathematics involved, and you got to kind of really like to do it and love it, you know. And so it's a
fun opportunity.
That's what I've been getting into the past 2-3 years. So it's just helped me bring more value to properties. I mean, I have 10 landscapers that I'll work with in Shelby Township, whether I do one lawn for them or 10 or 20 or more. They'll call on me or ask a question, and it's no problem. It's like, I got you. Like, this is what you should do. And, and same thing, I have people that call still, because I've mowed for so many years or did so, many landscape jobs, like, hey, can you do this? Well, I don't do those services anymore, but here's.
Sure.
So that's kind of what's been going on the past year or two here.
We'll do. There's already enough there to unpackage at least an hour. So, but this is going to be a good one. So many of you guys are younger, and you guys are growing your lawn and landscape company and branching out into treatments. I get a lot of questions, Joseph, about treatments, and I usually refer them to Jason Creel or refer them to my friend Mike. I used to work at TrueGreen, 14, 15 years ago. And it was a fun experience, but me personally, I didn't want to mess around with the chemicals, and to open up the warehouse doors at 6 a.m. And man, that was an interesting smell, when the whole plume of, invisible smells came out, and I'm messing with beakers and mixers and, like gallon jugs and stuff. And then the guy yells, "Don't let that touch your skin." And I'm like, okay, this isn't for me. And, and I'm not saying like it's a super, rough or bad, situation or anything. I was just like, I don't want to be messing with these chemicals, me personally. And I know everybody's got their own opinion, but well, let's do this. Before we go down that rabbit hole, we do want to hear from our show sponsors. So we're going to take a quick second here, hear from those guys, and then we'll get right back into it.
Battery power made by Steel. From trimmers and mowers to chainsaws and blowers, Steel battery tools are exactly what you need to tackle your to-do list. Whether you need to maintain your yard or completely transform your landscape. Battery power made by Steel. Steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot, always at a local Steel dealer. Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
The Fullerton Unfiltered podcast continues. Once again, here's Brian and his guest, Joseph Dipace.
Awesome, guys. Well, always great having the show sponsors that keep this thing moving, which is really, really appreciated. Again, thank you so much to you guys supporting them and everything that you guys have been supporting with us on the podcast. So, Joseph, let's get back into it, bro. By the way, we got a little segue here that we got to start with, because if we just jump into business, like, we work hard, but we also play hard. And bro, like, we were just literally out front. We're actually at my house, at my studio, and we were just out front of the garage. And you, my friend, just got a nice little reward. We were hinting about this on Paul Jameson's podcast episode. So what did you pick up, bro?
I picked up a new street bike. I was looking at getting a motorcycle, and kind of flirted with the idea of getting a personal vehicle, whether it be like a car or kind of always been into motorcycles. It's kind of one of those, like, people that ride motorcycles, they know as a kid, they got their first bike, training wheels or, little Tykes thing, like, they ride it to the wheels just literally split in half. And so I always loved being on my bike as a kid. And I remember as soon as I could go get my motorcycle endorsement, I went out and got it. Mom wasn't always too happy about it. She said, no crotch rockets,
right?
Don't bring those home. So,
what bike is it again? It's a Honda.
It's a Honda CB 650R. So it's like Neo Sports Cafe, like Street Fighter, half naked, and
it's like a maroon red-ish kind of accent on there.
It's like the Honda red.
Dude, that's so cool.
It's a lot of fun, and
well, I was laughing on Paul Jameson's podcast. We were talking about it, and I said, Joseph, forgive me, I don't even know what kind of bike it was. It just looked like this Captain America, type bike. And dude, it's pretty badass, I gotta admit. And remember, we were at Black Rock, we were sitting next to each other, and you were leaning over, you're like, hey dude, you want to see something cool? And I'm like, what's up, dude? And dude, it was so loud there because everybody's screaming and laughing and yelling. And I'm like, what's up, dude? And you like had your phone out, and you're like, dude, and you like slid it across the table, and you go, I just bought this. And I go, what? And you go, I just bought this. And you were all excited. excited. I go, dude. So like we bro fisted, and I was like, dude, I'm like, did you have it here? And you drove the truck that day. But dude, it's a sweet bike. We were actually out front. Go on my Instagram and go on Joseph's Instagram. You can check out his new toy. It's a couple bucks too, bro. Like you didn't buy some like used, little turd bike out there. You were like, I'm gonna reward myself. And you went all in.
It. Yeah, I was gonna. I remember when I showed you. I was like, remember you're talking about getting the four-wheeler. I'm just like, dude, like you got me in the toy fever, man.
Oh my gosh.
A bunch of my friends were getting street bikes, and I was just like, you know what? I held out for a few years.
Sure.
Especially on the bikes, you could have like a incident where it's a close call, or just the fact that you can only ride it so many months and you put it away. And so this was like, I was like, you know what? The next bike I'll get, I'm gonna get new, and I'm gonna just take care of it like all my other stuff. And, that's what got me here to the show today. So
dude, well, you were laughing, bro, because you've only had it for what, like 3 or 4 weeks? You said?
Yeah.
And how many miles you have on it, Joseph?
1,000 miles. I already had to do the inaugural oil change on it. So
that's so awesome, dude. I'm thinking like 1,000 miles. I'm like, bro, that's a lot of riding.
Yeah, I want to get my money's worth out of the insurance and tabs and everything.
Oh yeah. Well, you were telling me funny stories. You're getting crazy quotes for insurance because you're younger, and then you found a really good vendor for insurance, and it was super cheap actually for you.
Yeah.
But at first you were like, oh my god, the insurance is more than the bike.
Yeah. It's always want to check into that stuff with anything, insurance and anything.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little pro nugget there. Like before I bought my truck, I took a VIN of the exact same truck I wanted.
Smart. It's really smart.
Yeah. And I ran the insurance, and it was like $250 a month or something like that. But like I already pre-budgeted for it before I bought the truck, because a lot of guys that go buy a new car, or a new vehicle, and they don't factor in the insurance. And, especially if you guys are younger, listening to this, and, you buy a car with a $250 a month payment, you could be paying $250 a month for your insurance. So that's always something, the little pro tip there. Before you buy a vehicle, run a VIN similar to it. And
that's
get a good quote.
Very, very smart idea.
But you were keeping the dealer open. They're like, nope, we're going to wait for you.
Yeah, they were like, well, we want to get that plate on there. I'm like, I don't have to. I actually really wanted to come in here today just to feel out the bike, sit on it. Didn't think I'd be taking it home.
Well, we call that also the other second nugget of the podcast is the hold the puppy approach. You ever heard this one? Like, you go to a pet store and you're like looking at little golden retriever puppies, and they like put them in your hands.
Yeah, you're more likely to.
You're gonna buy that puppy.
Yeah.
You ain't going back.
Yeah, exactly.
You ain't going back home without a dog. And they're like, yeah, just go ahead and sit on it. Just go ahead and sit on the bike. You're like, no. And then you sit on the bike. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where they start telling you about the bike. You're like, I already watched about 20 YouTube videos on it. I know all the specs and everything.
Dude, good for you, man. Well, we were upstairs, and I don't know if you guys have seen this on Instagram. I don't even know if I'm posting it on Instagram about this, but I bought a one wheel. You saw that upstairs. You were like, dude, you bought a one wheel? And you were laughing, dude. I go, yeah, I bought a one wheel. And you go, dude, have you like busted your butt on it yet? I go, yeah, twice. Cause I mean, I don't know how to ride skateboards. And then, so Liz was so mad at me, bro. So guys, if you're listening to this, like we like toys too. And, cause we work hard, we play hard, right?
Yeah.
And, it was funny that Saturday night I bought the one wheel. This is like, 3 weeks ago now. And, I was telling the story to Joseph. It made me laugh because we were laying in bed. Liz and I were laying in bed. It was like Saturday night, like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, babe, I'm like, aren't you so bored lately? And she's like, yeah. I'm just like, everything's canceled. We can't go anywhere. Nothing's open up. And I go, yeah, I'm bored too. And then like you start milking it,
Yeah.
And then like 10 seconds later, I was like, babe, I'm like, we work really hard, don't we? She's like, yeah, honey, you're like the hardest working person I know.
Just buttering it up.
Dude, for like a half an hour, bro. I'm just buttering up, making little comments like that. We're laying in bed, just scrolling on Instagram and just chit chatting. And then, so dude, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I lean over and I showed her the order confirmation, the email confirmation. And it's like, your one wheel has been purchased. And it was a gob because I got all the accessories. It was a gob. And I showed the order confirmation to Liz and she saw how much it was. Dude, she was so mad at me.
Yeah.
She was like, what are you doing? We're buying land. You're going to mess up our mortgage. All this stuff. She was so mad, bro. And I was like, but you said I work hard. You said we were so bored. I'm like, this thing, look, the ad, it says, cures 99% of boredom. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what it is on their actual ad?
That's the actual ad. I go, so if you guys are listening to this, don't be surprised if you start getting one wheel ads, because we all know our phones listen to us. But she was so mad. Like I slept on the couch that night.
Oh boy, doghouse.
Well, I came back an hour later. I was like, hey, I'm like, come on, like you won't even miss it out of the bank account. She's like, fine, you can sleep here, but I still think it's a stupid purchase. And then the other day, I swear to God, and we'll get back in your talk, dude. I'm sorry. I just think
you're good.
I just think it's funny. This is the stuff we work hard for. So literally Thursday, 2 days ago, I'm working and I get a video, video chat, message. And I click the video and it's Liz riding the one wheel through the apartment. And she's like going back.
She's having more fun on it than you now.
Yeah. I go, don't ride my one wheel. I slept on the couch for that thing, And she's like, it's our one wheel. I'm like, oh, okay. And then, so I don't know if you guys like working hard, I like playing hard. And then we also threw down for the new Polaris. So that's cool.
Nice.
Little 570 coming. They released the 2021s and I burned up the phone. I'm like, yo, give me one. Indie Red 570. LED light pack, the Indie Red. I don't know what's going to get here though. Like it's probably going to be like 6 or 8 weeks. So I don't know.
That'll be a surprise then. You won't even be thinking about it that day, and all of a sudden you get a phone call and
basically
you said we'll have a track day out here or something.
I did. We need to have like a bring your toys over. We'll go play on the property. I just got done mowing it yesterday for the first time. It took like 3.5 hours because I had to double cut it. And it was thick. It was like foot tall grass and beautiful 3 acres, man. So like we get to work hard now, play hard,
Congratulations on that. Thanks, bro.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to spend a few minutes here because so many of you guys work your butts off, and it's okay to reward yourself once in a while.
It's okay to live life,
yeah.
or enjoy the things in life that you can, reasonably obtain.
Yeah. Well, so let's go back into your story then. So you're 24 now, and so you got started as what, like the neighborhood lawn kid? Or you said you were working for somebody part-time with a pizza shop?
Yeah, I was at a pizzeria and I'd come home, do driveways. I mean, I actually at one point I would clean cars for people there, do auto detailing, and so it was like,
just side hustle,
hustling. Everybody, we don't really nowadays. Everybody, grinds, and so it was like everyone, Joe's hustling, and after getting into the lawn care industry and landscaping and kind of, over the past handful of years here, dialed it down to, fertilizing.
Yep. Now, do you still mow or no?
I still have a little bit of the maintenance route. I mean, we went from,
mowing 4 days a week,
maybe 10% of the people that we, maintenance, from last year.
Okay.
So maybe we had 70, 80 weekly accounts. Is maybe close to 10 now. I kept some that,
some of your good ones,
and, been from the jump, and just because I still have, I had 2 mowers, I sold some equipment, and so I'm doing a little bit of maintenance. Maybe by next year I will, or just be full-fledged because there was a lot of contractors in my area that would get into FERT and try to do mowing and FERT, and then it would be a problem with focusing on it. And it can be done though, for full service. Like it's awesome if you can do the fertilizer and everything else. But
well, my friend Mike, he mows. He only has like 30 or 40 accounts, but I mean they're all like $1 million properties. And so he does the mowing, he does the FERT, he does the irrigation. So he does everything. Yeah. And that was one of the things that kind of opened up my eyes when I met Mike. I'm like, he's like, well, why do you have 135 accounts? And I had like 80, residential, 30 trailer park, 5 of this, 10 of that. And he's like, more doesn't even doesn't always mean more. He's like, sometimes less is more. And that's when instead of going vertical, I went horizontal with my business and I started offering all these other upsells, all these other services. And but I just never really got into the fertilizer stuff because I don't know, I didn't want to also go get my licensing. Can you maybe explain that process for some of these young guys? Because when I was working at True Green back in the day, dude, I don't even know. I went to some building, I think in like Troy, about an hour away from me, 45 minutes down the road. And I had like the 3A and 3B books or something like that.
Yeah, those are the categories you can get licensed in. Yep. Everybody takes a core, and then the licenses for, 3A's turf grass, 3B's ornamental in Michigan. And
okay.
Then there's the aquatics and everything else.
I think I took mosquito. Yeah, I did like I must have done like the core and then like the 3A or something like that because I was just doing like lawn treatments.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really. I didn't do anything trees, anything landscape beds. It was just really basic, just spraying the lawns. But back then, we needed like a 75% to pass. So let's say there's 100 questions, you can get like 20 or 30 of them wrong. And everybody was like, dude, you know, all the peers, you know, over at the True Green branch, like all the guys that are, you know, regular, they're like, man, you're gonna mess that thing up. Nobody passes it on the first time, because they all, you know, talk, you know, junk, and it's just shop talk. But they're all like, hey, you're gonna go take the test, man. Nobody passes it on the first time. And I was like all intimidated and stuff. And dude, I was reading out of these books. And dude, it was like a different language to me, you know, broadleaf this, spectrum that. I mean, I don't even know, you know,
different pumps, different calculations for
all this stuff. And
per
I was like,
thousand, this, that.
Yeah. No, I ironically enough, I had just came from pizza. You know, I was working at Little Caesars like, you know, 3 weeks prior. And now I'm learning about broadleaf this and, you know, insecticide, fungicide, I don't know, you know, and I'm like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, you're inside all the time in a pizzeria. You're looking outside on
I'm
grass.
like pepperoni, ham, bacon, you know, light sauce, double cheese, you know, like, would you want garlic butter, you know? And now I'm like, what is going on here? And I did. I went down with another guy to the office to take the test. I got a 77. So nice. I skated in there. I mean, like I was working with True Green, like shadowing with another guy in the truck for about 2-3 weeks. So like kind of as like a assistant, and I'd make door sales or you know, spray like with him sometimes and just like learn. But man, it was a hard test, bro.
Yeah.
So what's the process if somebody wants, at least in Michigan, can you take people through that whole timeline?
Well, real quick about the test, just to go off of that real quick, I actually passed my core, which is the one that everybody has to take. And then I took, it was called the 6J, which is 3A, 3B, and 6 all in one.
Wow.
And I missed it by 3 questions. So then I went back and just took each single test and passed each one.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
it's tough.
It's true. You know, they're not going to, they really don't want everybody just going out there and, you know, because there's a lot of effects or that could damage, or, you know, or you could do the environment. But anyways,
well, especially with all the Great Lakes here, they're really touchy about it.
Yeah,
here.
that too. You know, staying your distance from, you know, body water, or if it's ground's frozen, and but just for people that are getting into it, the best advice I can give is, let's say you're very surface, like you might know a lot about fertilizing, but you don't know anything about how to get it licensed in your state. So we all have Department of Agricultures in each state. Go on their website. They should have it posted. If you don't have answers on the website, call their department. If they can't answer your phone call back and answer your questions, then you know, that's
sketchy.
That's sketchy or bad, or, you know, they should be able to, you know, answer your questions. Say, hey, you know, just be genuine, honest about it. Like, listen, I want to get my license. You know, I really want to do everything, you know, correct and go through everything thorough.
Yep.
And, you know, not miss a beat. If you have a hard time, you know, obviously with what's going on right now, you know, phone lines aren't always open.
Yep.
Maybe get in touch with a contractor locally that is licensed, and
they can take you through those processes.
And when I say get in touch with one, because here's something that everybody would tell you, not somebody that like someone that you maybe know a little bit, you know, that's not just going to be like a 1-2, you know, conversation of like, yeah, this is what you do.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe somebody, you know, like, or try to get to know somebody, take them out to lunch and say, you know, I'm looking to get into it, you know.
Is that what you did? Did you just call the Department of Ag, or did you, because didn't you work for a guy or under a guy?
I was giving a guy work for a couple of years because I didn't want to have the same fertilizer or I didn't want to have a different I wanted to have the same fertilizer company on all the lawns that I maintenanced.
Okay.
So I was already giving him work, and I asked him about it, and obviously we work in the same areas, but it was a genuine question. I mean, it's not like I gave him a few accounts. Like every lawn I had was
a good account.
Yeah. And, you know, we talked on the phone for, you know, hours, and, you know, we sat down and talked, and actually there was a conversation. He was like, well, now you're going to become my competition, you know, like he didn't mean that in
to be a jerk.
Yeah. He just was like, well, this, you know, so, I got the books, and then I went on the website. So, you know, most states from what I've seen is you're going to have a personal applicator's card. So like, you know, if your name's John, like John's going to have a applicator's card.
I remember that.
Can do that.
The little green card, right?
And then The green card.
Yep.
And then,
so you guys, come on, man. I'm not making this stuff up. I used to do this, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like, we both did pizza. We did both, spray, and we're both in the green industry now.
Small world, bro.
So you got your personal card that, allows that person to be, that's their applicator's card.
Okay.
And then in Michigan, you need to have a business pesticide license. So I would imagine that most Department of Agricultures across America here are going to have the same 2 license system. Maybe some of, that's where you're going to have to go to your state Department of Agriculture.
Yep.
So in Michigan, let's say tomorrow, like, you already had your green card before, but let's say you want to get research, you could go sneak into the next exam, whether you have the books or not, you have the knowledge, and go take the test and get your applicator's card again.
Okay.
So like you could do that in a matter of months. So in Michigan though, for the business pesticide license, you can't take a class for that. You can't, it's got to be comparable education or 2 seasons experience.
Wow.
So, which is like, they can't really put experience requirements on there. Like, so that's where the phone calls came in. His name is Sam with the Department of Ag. I talked with him quite a bit. He said, because when I got my applicator's card and they asked, what company do you work for? Well, if you put your company that doesn't have a business pesticide license, I got automatically audited. They're like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm going to, go get the 2 seasons experience, and there's classes you could take too to get credits for comparable education. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I keep bumping Beppe onto or Joseph onto the, I call you Beppe, but onto the microphone. I'm like, speak up. You're right. You got the golden voice. So, but we want to hear, because the guys are riding lawnmowers with these things,
Yeah. Sorry. You might have to stick that marshmallow piece back in a little further for me, but
you're good, bro. So you got audited, or what is an audit?
It's kind of like I got a letter, that said like, hey, we seen that you got your personal applicator's card and you also applied for a business license. Like you can't do that right away. So,
did you get like a penalty or anything bad?
No penalty or anything. They just now it's like the scope's on you now. Like we're going to make sure that you do what you need to do to get your business pesticide license.
Yeah.
So, it was funny. I was just like sitting there. It was like February, March. I'm like, all right, well, I can go back to school or go work for somebody. I can't work for somebody in the town I work in because it's like they're going to
train their competition.
Yeah. So I was just sitting there, and then one day I get a call, and it was from, I haven't talked to him in a while. The guy I was giving a lot of FERT to, his name's Bill. And he says, because he knew I just tested, I called him after I tested, told him about the test.
All excited. Yeah.
So like a month or something goes by. It's like March now. And he calls and he says, hey, do you want to put down FERT? And I was like a little thrown away. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I had this guy that was supposed to come work for me.
Okay.
And I had him signed up and, get tested, everything. He's like, and he took on a truck driving job and he bounced on me.
Oh, wow.
And I sat there. I was just like, well, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I said, first thing I think I said was like, well, I just sent out my service agreements like 2 days ago, maybe would have dialed them down a bit, knowing to work part-time. So
sure.
That's kind of when I just kind of put my head down and work. So it became, I told him, yes, I'd help him out. And,
so you became a tech, like a FERT tech?
I became a FERT tech for Bill, the guy that I was previously giving for a few years.
Okay.
A lot of accounts too. And he would also give me accounts too for like mowing, you know.
So would you technically be like subcontracting, or were you like payrolled with him?
Payroll. I mean, I put on the uniform, which was weird.
Yeah.
Like putting on some, a different uniform. It was weird. It wasn't not to downplay him or it was just like, this is different. This is, some days I'd actually get kind of emotional about it. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I, is this really going to be worth it? I mean, even if you're getting into FERT or not, just like being out there every day, some days, you can question yourself, which is fine. It's okay. So
let me ask you this. So just so I understand context here. So a lot of these guys listening, I don't want them to be confused.
Yeah.
It's
hard for me to paint the picture because I've told this story so many times.
No, you're good. Yeah. I just want to know, because I went a different approach, right? I worked with True Green, and then I've got what license? So I got my applicator's license, probably, right?
Yeah, your personal applicator card.
Yeah. So did I get my pesticide license too? Your
applicator's card is like a pesticide license.
Okay.
So I'm going for Beppes, my entity Beppes, to have the license
as a business
to
be able to spray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what you can do is if you're the one that wants to spray, but you don't want to do the 2 seasons experience or the bachelor's degree or comparable education, you can hire somebody that has 2 seasons experience to work within.
Yes.
If they stay within 2 years in your company, then they will grant you like a permanent.
Okay. Because you can
pesticide license.
Can't you spray under somebody or with somebody then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Sort of.
So let's say you're a business owner and you don't have enough time. You got too many landscape jobs, too many lawns to do.
Yep.
And you want to spray lawns. You can hire somebody that is an applicator.
Okay.
And then after 2 years, you will get your business pesticide license.
Okay.
Then you could test, and then that's another way of doing it in Michigan.
How did I get mine with only just passing a test working for TruGreen back in the day?
Well, see, you're not trying to conduct business. You're just working for someone.
Oh.
So if you're trying to conduct business for hire for fertilizer, that's a separate license. So that's why there's 2 licenses.
So they already had the whole business licensed, and then I just needed my applicator's license to spray for them.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, okay. Because I've been confused for like a decade, bro. Because I'm like, no, dude, I was there for like 3 weeks, bro.
And I took that test. I thought I was good. I knew there was some education to do, but I didn't know how much extra work.
Wow.
You have a personal card and all the paperwork for that, and then the business to actually do it for hire is just completely different. Now you're talking insurance, you're talking
more exposure, different whole different classification.
Another fee, so it's
an interesting thing to learn really quick then.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it more sense to give the lay of the land, because I just wanted to figure out how this worked, because your approach working for yourself and then for this other gentleman is different than my experience, right? Going working for a big national fertilizer company. So I was just trying to stitch it all together. That's really, really cool. Well, I want to press a little bit more on that with you talking about the guy, Bill, that you were working for. It seemed like you had your own company, but then also working for somebody. That was a really probably unique experience for you. So I want to kind of dive back into that, break that down a little bit more. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from our show sponsors again, and then we'll dive right back into hearing a little bit more of Joseph's story.
Battery power made by Steel. From trimmers and mowers to chainsaws and blowers, Steel battery tools are exactly what you need to tackle your to-do list. Whether you need to maintain your yard or completely transform your landscape. Battery power made by Steel. Steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot, always at a local Steel dealer. Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Hello, it is Mr. Producer, and I was just on the Steel Facebook page earlier in the day looking at this great video they had with a licensed landscape contractor. It just gave me all sorts of advice on how to keep a healthier lawn. And I got to say, I've got some new tips that I'm going to put into practice. If you haven't connected with Steel on Facebook, make sure and like their page. And of course, let them know that you dropped by because of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Now, back over to Brian.
Awesome, guys. We'll always appreciate the sponsors taking care of us on the show. Thank you so much for supporting them as they help make all this content available to you guys, which is just super exciting. So, Joseph, let's go back to what we were just talking about. So help me explain the context of your life again. So this was about 2 or 3 years ago. You were running your own lawn and landscape company.
Correct, yep.
But then you saw this opportunity to gain all this experience, and you wanted to have that pesticide and applicator's license for your business. You weren't going to go to school for 4 years for that. So you had to get the 2 years under your belt working experience in the field, right? Mm-hmm. So you're working for, is the guy his name Bill?
Bill, yes. Yep.
So how did that work? Were you working with him 2 to 3 days a week? How did that relationship with that guy go? So did you tell him like what you're trying to do and how'd that all work out?
Yeah. So when he called me that morning or that day, telling me that, do you want to put down fertilizer? And then, kind of threw me off a bit, because he said, he had someone lined up and they just bailed on him. Like, This is March. Like, this is,
go season.
And they did quite a bit of work.
Okay.
I don't want to give away his, business, but they did quite a bit of work where it was, one-man show would be just overwhelming.
Right.
So I told him, I said, we'll do it, but we got to work on a few things like scheduling. Like we need to, I already sent out my service agreement, so I know they're getting signed back, coming back.
Yep. So
I already have commitments. So we sat down at a breakfast and we had an agreement that I would work Monday, Tuesday, and then, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I would,
have your business.
My business some more. So
okay.
Like I said, it was weird to put on a uniform the first 2 days. And
yeah.
But I remember we went and did dormancy oil sprays on trees.
Yep.
And I remember he's out like back or something, and the customer comes out front, and like the customer asked me a question, and like, you know, I knew the answer. I gave her the answer, and right then and there was like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, I studied this. I just brought value, and like this is it. Like this is it. Like it made sense to me. Like, dude, this is what you got to do. Like, you know, I still love doing the maintenance side and mowing and but like as soon as I this is stuff I would when I would do landscape installs and like this and that, and like people were just like asking me questions, like boom, I knew it, and then it would build a trust right away, and it was just like boom, this is it. So
did you have that breakthrough, like, dude, I can do this thing?
Yeah. And
that's so cool, dude. That's a huge moment though.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember, you know, just coming home with like a smile, like, dude, like
I'm gonna do this thing.
Awesome, like, you know. And
so you're working with Bill 2 days a week.
Yeah, and
what would happen if there's a rain day though?
Yeah, that's when so the season just began, and it was just hectic, man. I mean, it was just a lot. It was just like every day I had something sun up to sundown to do. I mean, and I did before too, like I would already do 5-6 days a week mowing and maintenance. But it was kind of more, you know, on your own pace. Now it's like you're responsible for someone else's truck, someone else's, you know, work. So it was a little bit change of pace for me. And it was tough. There'd be a lot of Saturdays
that you were working,
or I just remember coming home, you know, from cutting grass. It'd be like 8-9 o'clock, and
right.
I didn't want to, but I would take the blades off, scrape the deck, and
clean them up.
Come inside, and Mom left me a plate of dinner. It's like 9:30, you know, and it's not the great. I don't do well when I eat too late, and wake up, do it again. So.
But there was a reason you were doing this, right?
Yeah. So it was a lot of sacrifice and a lot of, you know, just hold it out. And I remember it was just like, dude, just 2 years. Yeah. Well, after the first year, Bill and I got along great. You know, we would do, sometimes 60 to 80 properties in a day.
Wow.
You know, and
were you guys spraying or doing the stand-on spreaders with the dry?
Yeah, we
did
granular, and then we would spray like weed control for the weeds.
Okay.
And I mean, man, we were just, you know, we were a wrecking ball out there, you know, and
that's awesome, man.
He was loving it, I was loving it, you know. And then we also shared a little bit of shop space too within this time.
Okay.
It just made more sense.
Yep.
And you know, he after that first year, he kept telling me like, dude, like I want to bring you on board, like let's get you on salary. Let's, you know, and I didn't say no. I didn't say yes. I just said, you know, we'll talk about it after the 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So after the first year, you know, that was just a crazy, you know, like year, like hectic year. And I was like, all right, we'll just do it for another year. I was like, you know, we might, you know, land a deal, work for him, or, you know, split off. And, we both gave each other so much, you know, on both sides. Like, so
did you guys have a 2-man team, or did you have your own truck?
Yeah, it was just us two. So, I mean, he had 2 spray trucks.
Okay.
And, you know, I'd go out, do a route. He'd go out, do a route. And then sometimes we did commercial stuff. You know, we did a college, and
team up a little bit.
Yeah, we would team up for some stuff. So, I mean, it just, you know, like I said, we were just a wrecking crew of it.
No, dude, yeah. You can clean up with fur. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it, because like I had Jason Creel in at our live event last year, and he's doing like numbers and formulas and just telling his story. But man, I would do 1,200 to 1,500 every day in production. I mean, I would spray 40 lawns. I mean, every day, 40, you know, 37. This is with like $32 applications, bro. You know, I mean, nowadays it should be like 40s, 45s, and 50s. I mean, right? Know your worth, you know. But I was working for Trugan, and they would do like the $27 application, and I'm like, dude, this is 4,500 square foot, bro. Like, how are you even making money on this?
Yeah.
And we would do 1,300 a day in production, and I learned a lot with route density with those guys. Like, to be honest, sales and route density, because I would have my tanker truck, and I would always call in the dispatch and get more customers, because we had our pre-notes, our notifications.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So if somebody had like a locked gate, you know, they get a call or text from True Green saying, "Hey, your tech will be here today." I get them from my mom's property, because, you know, I got to take care of mom, right?
Yeah.
So we take care of a little fertilizer bill, and but man, I really enjoyed spraying. I thought it was because I'm a very like melancholy detail guy. It was very like task oriented. So like I'd pull up and we'd spray a certain way, I'd outline and paint in the stripes, and it was a really fun experience for me, bro. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I just didn't like working with the chemicals,
Yeah, that's one thing is this exposure,
Yeah.
There is more exposure. It can be done safely with PPE, but
Absolutely.
That's a risk right there. There is more exposure, so that's kind of where like.
Do you wear like the long sleeves and long pants?
Yeah, you want to wear the right PPE and stuff that's not going to soak in.
Yeah.
It all depends what you put down too. There's some stuff I put down where it's just
It's more mild,
more granular, where it's more feed, or
Sure.
or it's we're not putting down on the scale of how hazardous it is. It's not, and then there's some stuff with insecticides that's like, all right, be really cautious of what you're doing when you put this down with the skin, skin contact.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's why, like, when I say, like, get in touch with the Department of Ag, get in touch, like, know that side of it. Like,
Yeah.
all of us are going to know the side of how much profit it brings or how much, you can get on something.
Sure. Well, man, I remember working back at True Green, and this is like 15 years later, so don't hold me against this. Hold this against me, but they don't mess around, bro. Like True Green and the Department of Ag, pick your state. But for us, if you sprayed, don't quote me, guys, like if this is law, but like if you sprayed more than like the wrong 2 properties, like 2 different things, like True Green was going to fire you, like straight up, because it's technically like a chemical spill. Like that's how that's how it was explained to me. And I was like, a chemical spill? And they're like, yeah, dude, like this stuff it's not like bad or harmful. It's just like, we don't want to be having it go into the water table. We don't want it to go down. For us, we do have a lot of the Great Lakes. I mean, we have, I don't know, a couple thousand lakes, here in Michigan. And was it like phosphorus or phosphates or something like that?
Phosphorus is banned from unless like you're putting down a seed in the beginning, or in the fall you can put down a phosphorus fertilizer with it.
Yeah.
That's like not allowed.
Yeah, it's
not
big,
allowed
big
across
no-no.
the board.
Yeah.
A lot of states too.
Is that the middle number, right? Like,
yeah, it's the middle number.
See, bro,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
this,
you
man.
still got it.
Like 2703 and like 1111s or whatever, and 2010, Like I remember, I don't know, dude. Like Quinsap, Q4, crabgrass. Dude, I remember all this stuff, bro. It's all in there. I have no idea, like N1K2 or K1K2s, all that mess. You know what I'm talking about? Like all the codes.
Yeah.
Gosh, 15 years ago, that stuff was baked in my brain, bro. Like my truck was like 212734. Like I had all these like 212 tanker trucks, and it's just so funny, bro, because I literally, like, we were taking it back. I was slinging pizzas like 3 weeks earlier, and I went on like monster.com, and I was like, manager, because I just wanted to manage things.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going back to being a peon, and and then I go to work at True Green. Like, yeah, you're gonna be a route manager. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to manage 9 people. Nah, you're
a little deceiving.
You're laughing at that, yeah, because they put route manager. Like you'll be in charge of all operations and all this mess, and it sounds like really like hoity-toity. And then I did my interview, and he's like, all right, cool, we'll see you at 6 a.m. and you're in tanker truck 212 202. I'm like,
no AC. Turn the fan on if you get a little hot. You know.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about? These Isuzus.
Bill would tell me a little bit. Bill actually used to work for True Green too years ago.
Oh yeah, okay.
If you want to go deeper into that story, so like after the first year mark, I was just so tired. Like I was like, we got to change it up this year. So
okay,
I did Monday and Fridays. I'll go and then I said if Friday comes and there's too much rain, I'm just going to finish cutting.
Sure.
That's how that worked out. But actually, after that first year, he actually had the opportunity to buy out a company that does lawn maintenance. It was like a 20-year-old company. And so he merged a company, and they do a bunch of like dealerships out in the city. You'd probably be familiar with.
Yeah.
And so like he just, all of a sudden went from just me and him to like 10 plus employees.
Wow. Wow.
And so now there's a grass side, and if he needed help with, mowing a couple lawns or something, I could give him a hand. So then the second season rode out, and it was a little more laid back because I, left the day open to catch up, and just because I didn't want to be trimming Miss Johnson's bushes on Saturday or Sunday morning, every single weekend be doing something like that.
We've all been there.
And so at the end of the 2 years, I put the conversation came back up for working for him full time. And I said to myself, I've been doing, Beppes since 2014, and I love doing it. I don't really want to give it up. So I kind of put my worth of like not giving it up.
Yeah.
I put it this way, like it was a conversation. I was just like, listen, like I'll do it. Like I'll go to work for you, but like that means I go to war for you now.
Yeah.
Like I go to war for my company. We use our businesses as a wealth building tool. But like now I'm going to war for you. So,
was there like a dollar figure you're talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about a salary and like, where you'd see me fit. So,
yeah.
We laid that down and didn't come to an agreement, which is fine, because like, I don't think everybody should always just come to an agreement just to try to get an agreement.
Yeah.
There was no hard feelings. We're still good. We still talk,
Yeah.
And,
So did you get that 2 years experience then, obviously?
Yeah, and then I over that winter, and I'm glad I did over the winter and not waited because of all the stuff got shut down,
all the COVID stuff.
But I got the business pesticide license and
Nice.
went right to work. And it's been a different kind of year,
Wow.
Before the 2 years spraying, if there was a problem or something, not that I would just offload it to somebody, but they'd always want to talk to the owner or talk to. So like now it's like this year, it's like, oh, so this is like the other side of it. Like, so this is like, why is it this way or that way?
Yeah.
And kind of go like, talking about Bedell, like I always tell like my customers, like the three things is like, fert, irrigation, and the mowing.
Yep.
And for some reason, like the fert guy is just like, he's coming with magical dust to like make the grass growing thicker. And, some people listen, some people don't. I've had people that bag their lawn and, cut it at 2 inches and just water it every day. The roots are shallow. And I said, you know what? Don't water it every day. Water it infrequently and deeper. You know what? Mulch it. Cut it up to 4 inches. It's going to suck to cut it, you know, for the first month or two before it gets up there.
Yep.
And then some of the feedback you get is, oh man, thanks. Like I haven't had to water my lawn that much this summer. And this is a 10-year kind of drought summer.
Right.
Oh, I learned how to mulch it up a bit, because the dog would, bring it in with the grass. And so,
yeah, I know a lot of guys that when they offer the fertilizing service, like they also do the irrigation control, or vice versa. And then if you can even manage the mowing too, if you're full service, awesome. But I remember like Giulio Tomei on Lawn Care Business Success podcast, he says all the time that if he takes over the mowing, he's like, we do the fert too. And he goes, I'm not doing it to be a butt. He goes, but with the mowing and the fert and the irrigation, he can control how it all works.
Yeah, because that's your work. You want your name to stand out. Like don't get me wrong. I took on some lawns this year that were just like hideous, like weed ridden, know. And I told him, I was like, well, we can do this, but you're gonna have to willing to do A, B, and C.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not gonna be. I don't want to put my name on this job of it,
Straight up.
Where I live in Shelby is a lot of sand, so you can water it, be dry in a day,
couple hours,
or a couple hours, minutes,
no, for real.
So
it was funny because I totally agree. Like some of you guys listening in, you always hear me say like, I talk to my customers once in the spring when we start, once in the fall when we're done, right? Like, hey, we're starting lawn care season, and they're like, okay, great. And then it's October. Hey, we're going to be doing snow. Do you want to sign up? Yes or no? Okay, great. Either which way, right? But I communicate a bunch to my customers. I mean, I could show you my phone. Literally on Thursday, I got done with my day. I sent out probably 17 text messages to about our 85 residential different customers, 17 of our customers, I should say. And I said, you got to cut back the watering. I said, I had like a little paragraph that I typed out, and it was like, hey, Randy. And then it's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I noticed that the lawn was growing pretty excessively this week. We had the double cut. I know you want the best looking lawn for the money you pay for. If I can make a suggestion, maybe cut down your watering times to half of what they are, and including half the amount of watering days. So like right now, one guy replied back to me. He called me actually. He goes, hey, so what do you want me to do? Because, whatever,
Yeah.
So he calls me, he goes, what do you want me to do? I go, well, what are you doing right now for watering? Bro, his lawn was 5 inches tall in August, right? It shouldn't be like weekly growth, 3-4 inches. Like this wasn't a 4, I was like, dude, this is insane. I double cut and it still looked like, like a farm, bro. All those clippings are going to dry out and I'm going to look like an idiot. And I said, well, how long are you watering your lawn for? And he goes, every day for 20 minutes a day. And I go, whoa. I'm like, bro, like you got to cut this down. Like every other day, let's try every other day for 10 minutes. And he goes, you think? I go, yeah. I said, 1, the lawn's going to look nicer. And 2, I'm going to save you $400 on your watering bill.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay. And then, I go, yeah. And by the way, can you not? He goes, well, I'll just do, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And I said, or Or, because this is going, I go, or you can do Monday. I said like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because we cut on Wednesday, right? So then the lawn is drier that Wednesday morning. He was a Wednesday cut, right? So if you guys are listening to this, like you can communicate with the customer and say, hey, look, the fertilizer guy, the mowing guy, we're all trying to work in the customer. We're all trying to work together, this little trinity. Like you were just saying. And sometimes the fertilizer guy, he just gets schlepped, he's like, why isn't my lawn green? Or why is there weeds poking up? Well, because your lawn care guy's cutting at 2 inches, or the irrigation set at, some ridiculous rate, and all the fertilizer is, draining out or burning out, Is this kind of what you're alluding to?
Yeah, there's finger pointing or,
It's a partnership.
It's hard because it takes a lot of time too. Like you could give someone an adjustment. They want to see the results right away, especially in fertilizer. They want to,
oh yeah.
They, I've had people call and ask me just spray it once. And I was like, well, there's kind of a program for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's,
do you do the one and dones? Like the one-time sprays?
Not typically. No. I mean,
they're not very effective.
I try to tell people like, I spray, but there's no guarantee like the seeds are still exist in the soil. And but I know what you're saying, like that Wednesday cut, like if they like, you probably go to cut it and you just, even if it's not wet, you just know in the blades of grass how much moisture is. It just doesn't chop up right. And, or they water it to so much where there's fungus and,
for us, it's crabgrass. I don't know about you. It seems like crabgrass is just out of control this year because of the
corners heat and edges on everything. And then the pre-emergent went down late because we were shut down for a whole month.
It's been a really interesting year,
and it's hard to explain that. But if people are willing to listen, and or you go out of your way to send a text like that, like that's value of a short term and long term. Like it's just. It could be, it's 5 minutes of someone's day at the most, but they're saying, hey, like Brian actually took like his time out of the day to like, let us know, like, like I thought everything was good, if I'm if somebody actually cares about you, like, oh, I'm kind of hindering on the way he performs his services. I don't want to be hindering on nothing, and then there's some people that, maybe that those won't be your ideal customers. You're going to have some. It's not like every single person's going to text you back like, yeah, I will do that right now. I'll turn the dial.
Well, I had some of them because I know there's certain types of customers, and you're laughing because we've all dealt with these type of people. I have some customers that I know don't text me back, so I leave at the bottom of the text, please reply to confirm. Right? Because if I get them yelling at me or canceling or rebuttaling or they don't want to pay for something, right? It's like
you laid it out there.
We call it a paper trail. My friend Mike, he calls it a paper trail. Like, yo, dude, I put out there that you need to do X, Y, and Z, or I can't guarantee A, B, and C, or, whatever. And so like sometimes some of these customers they're like, well, why is there so many clippings on my lawn? I'm like, bro, because 6 weeks ago I texted you to turn down your freaking watering, and you didn't. And then some people like that, bro, I just turn off their sprinklers outside on the backflow preventer.
Yeah, I've done it too. I'm not gonna say I haven't done that.
I'll be the first to admit it. I'm like, I'll come back a week later when I know it's dry, because the people people are so busy in life, bro, they don't even know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like the guy, I'm like, yo, I take a lot of pride in what I do because it's my business card out there.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not telling you guys to do this. I'm just saying, like, communicate with the customer.
Yeah.
But there's times where, like, I'll do an HOA. I'm in there on a Monday. So I'll go back to that person's house and, like, re-crank it back on. And I'm like, fine. If they're not going to listen, I'll take it in my own hands. I don't know if that's right, but I just don't want the lawn to be 5 inches tall.
At your own risk at that point. It's like when you were at the pizzeria, like, you didn't know the grass, like, you got to know too, like your customers just like don't understand, not that they don't care, they just care about the end result. So like if you can get it across, be like, this is for the end result, you know? And then like the paper trail too thing is great because like, think about it this way. All right, that customer, flips the service, it goes to someone else next year. You made the effort, They run into the same problem with the next contractor with too much water. And then the guy cancels, maybe then we could make the green industry better where they're like the customers understand, be like, hey, like, I keep running into this problem. Maybe it's me, instead of me just going through 20 people.
Well, and that's the thing. Like they had a fertilizer guy. I'm like, look, I don't know whatever parts per thousand or, whatever the guy's meter is set at, 7, pounds per thousand or whatever, I was like, look, whatever he's doing, it's too much. I'm like, he's got to throttle that. And in fact, this goes full circle to my friend Mike, who subcontracts my fert now, because all my commercial sites, it have 5 different, companies, 5 different, contractors, some of the national guys and some of the smaller guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I have no quality control. Like I have no, like Bedell, he goes, man, I could mix the batch to do this, or I can mix the batch to do that. We can work together to make sure that the lawn's not a jungle in the spring, that it has a more even growth cycle, throughout the whole season.
Who wouldn't want that on especially a big commercial property,
Yeah, because he noticed that one of my sites, it was just growing ridiculous, and I'm like, yeah, dude, these people, I don't know what they're throwing down, dude, but the lawn is nuclear green, right? It's it's growing like a fertilized weed, and we haven't had that issue for I think this would be our second season where he's managing my commercial fert, which is really, really cool. But again, it's building those relationships. Plus, I was able to put a lot of revenue in his pocket. I mean, we do, I don't know, 10 grand a year in fert together. And it's nothing to scoff at. He makes good money on it, good margins on it. And if I can put business in my friend's pocket, then I don't know. I just think it's really cool that you can work together with your friends, work with your customers. Because I do care about my customers' lawns, right? And I want to let them know, hey, this is a partnership. Because a lot of our customers, I feel, and maybe you guys listening feel the same way, they just set it and forget it. They're like, oh, in the spring, the irrigation guy comes and turns it on, whoever that joker is, and that's fine. But this summer, in June and July, we had record heat, right?
Yeah,
10-day
stretch of almost nothing.
Yeah, I remember it was almost 2 weeks no rain. We had 90s for about a month straight. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 days of relief, but not really.
Yeah, it would, if anything, it'd come down and dry right up.
Yeah,
It wasn't like it was curing nothing.
So everybody, so what did they all do? They all cranked it up in end of June, all their watering to 7 days a week, 20 minutes, and then in late August here, it's getting a little cooler. We've had some nice days, a couple of showers in passing, but what are they still doing? Watering 7
change it, and
I'm like, you got to change those. Actually, a little pro tip here, guys. This is something that I'm doing for my customers this weekend. I'm sending out a newsletter from Yardbook via MailChimp. I have it all integrated, and so I'm going to record just a 2-minute video on my phone in front of a water meter box, the Rainbird meter, so I can tell them how to adjust the water.
Nice.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out a newsletter to, my 85 residential customers and say, hey guys, it's Brian. I'm not going to post it on YouTube, just a small private video.
Yeah.
But just a 2-minute clip. And it says, hey guys, I've suggested to a lot of you to, turn the water down or adjust it. Some of you guys, let's be honest, they don't know how to do it. They got kids. They got sales jobs. They're working from home. All this mess, and they don't know. And I'll come do it for $25, but it's not really efficient. So what I'm going to do is just shoot a 2-minute video saying, hey guys, here's how to adjust your times. Here's how to use the little red up and down arrows.
That.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It's nice.
It takes 2 minutes and I can solve 85 problems, or the 20 customers that are overwatering and they don't know what to do. So, I mean, communicate with your customers is what I'm trying to derive from this whole conversation. So,
because it just brings a value. Like I said, it's short term and it's long term, and that's how you build trust. For me, sign somebody up on a turf care program or I did a landscape job.
Yeah,
what I wanted was their trust, and then I can take care of everything else from there because we know what we're doing,
Yeah.
And if we don't know, you have they have your trust to know that you will reach out to
Advise
other people
them.
or network with other people to help get something done on their property. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's their property.
Amen.
You're just there to service and mend it and, build that relationship with them.
I love it. Well, let's do this, man. Why don't you take the last 10 minutes? I've been talking a little much on this one. You just get me all fired up about, because I care. I just get so excited. But what are you currently doing with applications? How do you run your business? Are you 4 days a week fertilizing now? And then where do you plan to go in the next couple years?
Yeah. So right now, I have a lot of fertilizer programs that are all on a 6-step program. Commercials is more like 5. In Michigan here, we have the cool season turf grass.
Okay.
And I have a granular blend custom made at a local elevator over here, Washington Elevator. Shout out to them.
Okay.
And
custom blend.
Call it the Beppes blend.
What?
That's my hashtag. It's Beppes blend. It's been great. People have been loving it.
What? Do we get the secret sauce?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like stuff that people can't get their hands on, but it's
formulated how you like it.
Formulated how I like it. And Beppes blend isn't just the fertilizer blend. It's the applicator that puts it down, the care, it's kind of abstract too.
Dude, hold on, time out. You were saying on Paul's podcast, the beard oil. Weren't you talking about that?
Yeah.
And we're gonna get like the Beppes blend, and it's like everything from fertilizer to oil. Oh, beard oil.
Yeah. To the salt for putting salt. I even thought about it's like salt buckets for your driveway. Just drop off. Says Beppes blend on it.
Gosh, dude.
We were thinking of total domination here with Beppes blend.
You're gonna get this all registered and trademarked. Get that little seal of approval.
Yeah, Beppes blend's gonna be a corporation before you know it.
We had our hand in about 5 different things, all the special ingredients, man. That's good stuff. I know Paul was trying to grow that beard in. You guys talked about beard growth for about 5 minutes. I don't have a beard. I'm Polish.
We're talking about Jim Bob's. I'll shut them out again.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The sponsorship from them.
Is that in Michigan?
Yeah, they're a Michigan company. I actually found them at a just going off on a tangent, but at like a barbecue place.
Okay.
I seen it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "Is that barbecue oil?" I'm like my dad's I'm like, "Dad, it's probably like barbecue sauce," He's like, "No, so
it's beard oil."
Yeah, shout out to them, a local company.
What was the name?
That's what I love.
Beard Bob?
Jim Bob's.
Jim Bob.
I'll have to send you a picture of it. That's what I love doing is supporting local. That's why like Beppes blend it's locally blended. I could go to Site One and shout out to those guys and the local rep here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Like I told them, I was like, listen, I don't mean no harm by any means. Like I'll buy herbicide from you guys, or pesticides. I said, but like if I can get my fertilizer blended locally, like that's what it's about, for me.
Supporting local.
That's what I support. That's what I stand for.
Yeah. 6 weeks from now, today's episode is brought to you by Jim Bob.
Yeah.
and then show sponsor Beppes 10.
Well, like I said, the push on Paul's podcast said there's a lot of beards out there cutting grass.
Oh yeah,
maintaining landscapes.
Dude, the beard gang is strong out there, bro. Don't mess.
Yeah.
I mean, they No Shave November. People go all in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, people are like, why don't you grow a beard? I go, I'm Polish, bro. Like I get it, like the Van Dyke. I get it around like the chin and the lips, but I can't get anything on the sides, bro. Not at all.
I have to get the growth oil.
I don't know. The growth oil
can sometimes bring out some of the best in you. Who knows?
It's just a weird name, growth oil. I don't know. I got this like deep Polish. Dude, I'm like not super hairy, dude. Like my wife loves it. She's like, you got the Polish gene. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. Genetics plays in. Genetics can be a pain or a blessing.
We need to get some other like beard. We got to get like a Dollar Shave Club or somebody sponsoring the show.
Yeah,
this stuff costs a lot of money, guys, to shoot these podcasts. I mean, I'm sitting in a $5,000 studio. People have no idea. Like, I make all this money. I go, dude, it costs me a couple $100 every time I do an episode in time and production and Mr. Producer and Dollar Shave Club and
if you get one,
Jim
I want to do the read for it. I'll come back over here and do the read for it. I'll do it for free.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right, I'll do it.
So, Jim Bob, have your people get in touch with our people.
Yeah, they got a NASCAR sponsor, so I know they're out there looking for sponsors.
Straight up.
So,
wow, dang, big money there.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's spending any money on sports, so they can go sponsor podcasts.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, for real, like, there's no sport. Sports is kind of back, but not really. So all this ad dollars got to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if I see you pulling up in like a new F-150 and it says Jim Bob,
then we've hit the airways of the right people.
You're carrying like the trench coat with a couple bottles,
Yeah.
Yo, you want some beard oil?
Yeah, just open it up, give you a couple samples.
Oh my God. One guy left a review. He said, he goes, the title of it was best rabbit hole or best rabbit holes I've ever experienced or listened to. And so he did the paragraph review was like, I love when Brian goes down his rabbit hole tangents with his guests. They're always fun. They're always like, kind of dorky, but cool.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
Yeah. We got, it shows that we're human and it's like,
yeah.
It puts a little touch on the episode,
Hey man, we're buying four-wheelers and motorcycles and one wheels. It's the stupidest purchase ever. But whatever, dude. Work hard and play hard.
Brings personality into it,
Yeah. So where are you going for the next 5 years with Beppes then?
So,
by the way, what's Beppes? Where'd you come up with the name?
So it's short for like Giuseppe, like the nickname.
Okay.
And I named it after my grandfather. So I was, like Italians, they'll always name their son or daughter like after their mother or father. So that's how a lot of it gets passed down. And so I'm named after my mom's father. I actually never met him. That's kind of why I did this. Is like,
that's really
I've
cool,
only
dude.
got to know him through stories, and I actually have done work for people that worked with him because he worked at Ford. He was an immigrant from Italy on a farm, came here, worked at Ford.
Wow.
American Dream, whole deal. And so
you live in like Detroit area, probably.
Yeah. Well, they were in came in Ellis Island, California. They lived for a bit, and then moved to Michigan through marriage and the family.
Okay.
And
that's really cool.
So like all I got to hear was his story, his legacy. So I was just like, instead of making, I could have making my last name, or, that's where you get creative. Like, that's when I sat down with my lawyer, formed the LLC. He's like, this is where you get the most creative. Everything else is like paperwork, sign this, sign. Yeah. So I was just like, we'll do Beppes. So
that's pretty cool. I always wondered where the name came from.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's Giuseppe? Giuseppe?
It's like short for Giuseppe, like Beppe.
What's Giuseppe? Is that just like an Italian?
Well, Giuseppe's like Joe. So Giuseppe's like Joe in Italian. Giuseppe would be Joe. And so...
I'm Polish, bro. I don't know this stuff.
So
that's
like,
good.
if your name was Giuseppe, like when you're like a little kid, they'll just say, that's Beppe, over there, just for short.
Okay.
So...
We're learning, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're learning today.
And I actually, on all the T-shirts, in our trucks and trailers, we have a remembrance on it for them. And
wow. That's so cool.
It was cool one day, family would come over, and I was just like check this out, just because, like I said, he passed away at an early age.
Okay.
And, so it's just cool to, like, even though I wasn't around for that, like, I just want, my family to know, like, listen, like, I want to carry that on.
Yeah.
It's just something cool. It's on the sleeve. So like when you go to work hard every day, you have a bad day, you can look down and be like, I just got to keep pushing through.
That's so cool, bro. Italians, you always think generational.
Yeah. Generational, traditions. And so
something that some of us can learn from, for real. Cause I told Liz that, it's for real, actually, that's something I've been learning a lot, is like generational wealth. And some people get it, some people don't. There's a lot of theories and a lot of stuff about creating family wealth and generational wealth. It's a way different way of approaching life. A whole nother story, rabbit hole for a whole nother time. But you look at families and last names that have been wealthy for a couple hundred years, couple thousand years. The way you act and what you do today would really, really, really change a lot of what you do if you started thinking an extra generation or two ahead.
Exactly, yeah.
And Liz and I talk about this all the time, bro. Like, this is another rant and tangent, but Liz and I would be driving down the road, and dude, we have no trust fund, no stocks, no bonds, no nothing from anybody, no real estate, no anything. And I'm like, dude, there's been Fullertons, let's say, for 250 years, 500 years. I don't know. Somebody changed the name, way back in the day. And then my girl, her last name was Bell, and 10 different names, back from all of her family, right? But I'm like, nobody, I don't know, maybe you're different, but nobody gave us 10 apartment complexes or 3 different companies. And
there's no
generational wealth. It was always here and now. And if you're always here and now, here and now, here and now, like, your kids are going to be here and now. And it's just something that Liz and I've been thinking a lot, is creating generational wealth. But I don't know, just things that make you go home. When you guys are out there and you're listening to interesting stuff, man, like, think long term. And Italians, I mean, straight up, I think I get a little bit of that from Drake. But anyway, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, like, just real quick, like, my grandparents, they came over, on a boat for 3 months, $700, and that was everything they had. And
wow.
My grandmother, my nonna, she was actually pregnant on the boat and came over. And,
wow.
So it's you start to see, like, this is going to be, I'm the third generation in America. Like, you can really get the ball rolling for stuff,
That's so cool, dude.
But going back to the 5 years thing, I want to make sure I answer that for you. Is, I thought about when I had the mowing accounts and they were getting up high where I needed to almost, at least have a second crew.
Okay.
I didn't really want to entertain the idea of a couple trucks out there, and it's all depends on what you want to do. Some people, like you said, you don't like to get in touch with exposure to chemicals, or some people don't want to have this grand. So I'm going to keep it Beppes to bring the most value. For now, I'm going to be owner operator, but I know that won't always work. You can get hurt. Something could happen. So I think I want to have a couple close techs to work with, and if a tech comes work for me, I want to treat them like family. Like, listen, like, you always have a home here.
Yeah.
You could be a Fert tech, and if you want to, I want to help people. They don't have to be a Fert tech their whole life. Like, if they want to get into horticulture or even a different industry, like, I want to use that as a tool to help other people, because I know how Beppes just in this first 6 years has helped me out. With even just thinking, with my brain, and making a business a wealth generating tool. I want to be able to use that as a vehicle for other people to hire on board, because I can't do that right now. So I'm figuring that out.
Right.
If I can figure that out, bring people on board, and
that's awesome.
Maybe even like younger, generation in their 20s, hire them in there, maybe they learn a few things or two. And
so you thinking like have a shop with like 3 or 4 trucks that go out?
Yeah, at the most. I don't think I want to have like a, multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
Because I bought trucks off this one guy, not trucks, but when I bought trucks, this one in particular, he said I had, 2,000-3,000 accounts of fertilizer. I said, oh wow, that's a lot. And he's like, yeah, you think it's a lot and it's like good, but he's like, there's a lot of attrition.
Okay.
And
okay.
He said if he did it over again, he wouldn't do it. And I've talked to people that said if I did it over again, I'd go harder.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we're going to find a balance and just try to keep the value, because there was that point in time where I just took on so much work and it started to slip.
Okay.
The value or the
quality?
The quality would start to slip a bit. So I want to take it slow. I want to get the right customers. I want to have fans, of Beppes that, they know it's just taken care of. So
that's awesome.
We'll see where it takes us.
And you do all your work over Shelby Township?
Yeah. So like northern Macomb County, northern Oakland County.
Yep.
Dip a little bit into Lapeer, but
okay. You're over by Kelfas area a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, in the very early days of starting landscaping, I would come across a couple of his videos and I'd see him in the same stores that I go into. I'm like, dude, I'm going to bump into this guy one
eventually.
day. Like he's at Weingart's. He's at,
we
local
have
stores, and
we have friends that live over in 22 Romeo Plank area.
Okay.
So I know Hall Road. I mean, the famous golden statue and monuments that you guys have there. The city spent $250,000 on the most ridiculously stupid arch.
Yeah.
Full circle arch.
Yeah.
And it's got a couple of nicknames and monikers to it, but
yeah,
just ridiculous. But I mean, beautiful area. I mean, there's tons of new homes being built, especially as you go north. From Hall Road area. So you service all up and down that stretch?
Yeah, so like Hall Road would be pretty much like the southern point, and then I go all the way up to, I live close to Almont, Michigan.
Yeah.
Which is like just pretty much up Van Dyke.
Yep.
And then east and west. So
it gets a little bit more opened up there as well. A little bit more rural.
Yeah, like Hall Road, you could go from a 10,000 square foot yard to Almont 10-20 acre parcels.
So it's funny, I did a construction job for a friend. I think I used to do some demo and some construction in the off season for winters. Guys, I'm just like some of you guys. What do I do in the winter? Whatever brings in $500 a week, bro. So I do construction and demo and just labor, for a friend's dad. And we were over in Almont, and dude, some beautiful homes over there too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 5-10 acres and 3,000 square foot homes. I'm like, shoot, dude, this is the dream. And I mean, really, really nice homes. But like, you have to go to like Armada and Almont and to have this kind of property by us,
Yeah, because you can't, or you want to do it on a smaller city. It's just that much more ridiculous or variances.
I told Joseph how much we paid for the land. He's like, damn, dude. I go, I know. But it's like, that's what it is for if you want land, and a couple
locations.
Yeah, it's
heavily with any kind of acreage out here. It seems like location is just
it is
a huge part.
Well, we were our real estate agent or the appraisers like, where did you get all these comps? Like measuring comparable properties in the area, and what we paid per acre is like multiples of what it is per acre typically. And the appraiser's like, where are they getting these numbers? I'm like, dude, look around, bro. Like I don't know what you're looking at, but there's over Novi acres like $200,000 per acre. And it's like, actually, there was not 10,000 square feet for $200,000. And, but if you go west an hour, you can go get 10 acres for $100,000. If you go north, kind of north and east where you're at, you can get 10 acres for $100,000. But, then you're an hour away. Actually, you're in a good spot, man, because you'll be 20 minutes from your route.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, like when I get up for the day, if I got to go down to Shelby, that's where I used to live. I mean,
was that
15-minute drive? Maybe.
Gosh, I'm so jealous, bro.
It's nice. And the thing with property is like, whether it's a realtor or someone you talk to and they ask you how much you pay for it, it's if everybody gives you any flack for it, or like I've noticed, like when people buy land or property or a house or they're building a house, be like, listen, like I don't mean this in any braggadocious way, or like it's like all right, then you just go get land, or you go buy or build the home then that you want, like because like this is
this is my dream, not yours.
Yeah, exactly. So like respect, dude. Like, you got the location, you got a spot, and it's work,
Yeah.
That's the one thing I like is I do a lot of work on these properties, and you kind of will see a bit in yourself
Yep.
Like, yeah, like that's something I'd want. You're not going to mimic what someone else does. Be like, dude, like, yeah, this is a sweet home. Like,
Yeah.
And you're learning those things and you're working hard, and those things are staying in front of you. And you're kind of manifesting that in yourself. You're like, dude, I'm mowing this yard that's like 4 acres, or, or maybe you want to have a home in a subdivision. You're like, dude, I always going in the subdivision. Like, I love, like, dude, if you're staying around those things, you will become those things. So like, for me, like, that's awesome. Like in bad over 2-3 years ago, I started going more north and north.
Yeah.
Cause I liked working out there. I'm just like, dude, this is awesome. Then you're getting familiar with the area. And I'm sure it's kind of, similar story for,
Well, the last thing I'll say, and we'll probably button this guy up here because we're on just after an hour, and I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time because I know you got plans today too. I'm taking his whole afternoon, but the one thing I really appreciated about True Green was, besides the sales training and learning about route density and production, was what you just said. Like, bro, I was spraying 40-50 lawns a day, right? And I worked there for a little over a year and a half. But dude, I probably sprayed 10,000 people's homes, properties, right? So I've seen 10, 15, 20,000 people's backyards, right?
Their setups, their dream spaces, their
the patios, the pools, the landscaping, the lights, the this, the that. And I'm like, so I know what I want. So when Liz and I build our dream property, like, we're going to build this bed of the bone outdoor patio and outdoor living space, because I get to watch on Instagram and watch like the Caleb Allmans and the Carson Shifskys, the Evans Landscapes, the Sean Collingscrews with Premier. But then I've seen, like, in this area, there's some money in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, that. I don't have any of it. How about you? You working for it too?
Yeah. Every day, man.
You're creating that generational wealth, right? But it's just funny. I love True Green because we would go into these gated properties, and I'd have the little code on the sheet, it's like, use code 2255, whatever. And, you're into this, $2 million gated subdivision, right? And I'm like, man, these are some sick homes that I would never be able to look at or see. Right. But I'll go in incognito with a little tanker truck, fertilizing their lawn. Right. So it was always a really, really good experience with that. That's something that I really appreciated, was getting to see everybody's home, from different parts of the city. So, no, I like it, man. Well, let me ask you this. If, any final thoughts you want to leave with these guys? I got to get like an annual, re-up with Joseph Dipace. All right. You got to be a regular on the show.
Appreciate that. I'm glad I can be a good guest for you.
I see you when you get excited, when you talk about certain things. Like I'm hanging with Joseph in person. So he like lights up and I'm like, oh, good question. Good topic, and you're all like jacked up right now about how your company's going. Like you said, the last 2 years you were just working for somebody else and trying to get your ducks in a row, like legally, and do it correctly. And that was your focus. And now, like, this is your first year where you're spreading your wings. And, hey, 2020 has been an interesting year.
Yeah. An interesting year to start over again.
Especially in Michigan.
Sense,
Yeah. Because we couldn't do anything those first 2 months, remember? March, April.
No, we feel bad for going out to go do something that's not life.
Yeah.
That's how they had us feeling. Like, felt bad for like going,
It's basically like you're a peon. Like, fertilizer isn't essential and mowing's not essential. And I'm like, well, paying for my family is, and taking care of their like food and shelter is, but that's a whole nother story for a whole other time.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When we did that episode, 5-6 months ago, we're both like, yeah, we're going to charge out the hill, man. 2020, we're going to make it our B. And then, like, literally 2 weeks later, we had to pump the brakes. And I was listening to the old episode, and which is why I appreciate you coming over and kind of re-upping, because on the other episode we did, I was like, Joseph, like a fourth of this or a third of it doesn't really relate or pertain. And because the world like flipped upside down 2 weeks later.
It was a bad spot. We didn't have to revisit it then, you know.
Yeah. But we've been working though, so it hasn't been too bad. I still can't wait to vote my governor out, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I'll never let that one slide. But no, so any final thoughts you want to leave these guys, man? Thanks for real for being on the show.
No, I appreciate it.
Thanks for showing me the bike.
Yeah, no problem.
You're building my dream,
Just to go off of kind of the main premise of, I guess my main point to get across about doing the fertilizing is we talked about, the rules and regulations, which is one thing, but the whole other thing is like recognize what you'd be getting into, because even for me, like working for a company and then I go do it by myself, like now there's things I'm learning and coming across that I didn't before. So look at the, I guess, like I said, look at someone local in your community, talk to them about it. Do they like it? Do they love it? Do they hate it? They wish it would have done something else.
Yeah.
Know the health risks, that are, even in mowing, there's health risks, the dust, the exposure to the exhaust of the mowers and
loud noises.
Just look into, like before someone gets into hardscaping, like they're going to look at the price of the excavator, look at the price of a skid steer, look at the price, that the big companies have, the dump truck. So before you get into fertilizer, look into what equipment you need.
Yeah, we didn't even talk equipment. We got to talk next episode. We'll talk equipment.
Yeah, we'll talk some equipment.
Yeah.
Just look into that. Look into what it takes to get licensed. Look what it takes to, the knowledge. That's huge. Is the knowledge. Like, are you going out there for the right reason? Are you going out there because you can make an extra, $400 or $500 on a client a year? Or are you going out there to bring the value because you have the knowledge of doing it? So that's one thing I think in almost anything I do, I look into, I love woodworking, I could do woodworking pretty good and make a business out of it maybe, but maybe I wouldn't be efficient or a pro at it or,
Sure.
So that's one thing too about me is I'm like a jack of all trades. I like to dabble and stuff. I like to work on my trucks and stuff.
You're very mechanically inclined.
Yeah.
You are.
So, don't get me wrong. I got to get help every now and again. But
I've sold equipment to you and you're like, dude, I'll fix this up in 2 seconds.
Yeah. The snowblower.
Yeah.
That was, I think I still got it.
Yeah.
I still got it. Hang on to that. But just look into FERT. And even if you don't want to go through all the hoops to get licensed, maybe look to give that work to somebody to create that value of
relationship.
Like you said, the trinity of,
that's it.
FERT, mowing and irrigation. Just do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for, the money, because then all you'll be doing is chasing a dollar. And then I feel like the whole time. So, it's been great. This is, I'm sure next time I come on the podcast, this is like my first season pretty much stowed away. So I'm just kind of taking it slow. I don't need to have 1,000 customers right now.
Yep.
And then 100 or 2 drop off next year because the price is lower. And so,
building it right.
It's like I said, it's the sacrifices that I took to take those 2 years and work 6-7 days a week. I've kind of, I thought I was going to, after that, like come out the gate, I'm like, dude, I'm coming swinging. Like I thought I was going to, but actually I've like just slowed it down. Be like, you know what? It's okay if, Monday this week I stay in a half day to do the paperwork or make phone calls, and parents are getting older, maybe go take in the doctor's appointment or go visit someone. So it's just been a good change of pace. And like I said, if you're going to get into fertilizer, you can reach out to me or reach out to others. But I think locally you'd get the best, like how it really is. If you look someone locally, and not 5 minutes from your town, maybe an hour away, or reach out to one of them, and they can kind of tell you about it, tell you their story and how it goes for them. So
can people reach out to you? Where can they follow you and find you if they got questions? If you want to be a resource out there.
The best audience I have is on Instagram, Beppes Lawn Care.
That's BEPPE.
Yep.
So Beppes Lawn Care,
and you can DM me on there. Send me a question. You can even look into the Department of Ag. Sometimes I have some friends that are licensed in other states, like John Pajak, he's in Indiana. There's other people.
Shout out to John. He's a good dude. I know you guys are really good buds. I know he's helped you along the way too.
Yeah, we're really close. And,
is that where you guys get the beard thing?
maybe I don't.
He's got a beard, bro.
Yeah. He's Polish, so he must be different.
Cut from a different cloth.
Yeah,
he's a different strand of pole.
Yeah, he's got the like the Viking beard.
Yeah. It's a thick one, man. It's if I was gonna do No Shave November, bro, I'd have to start in like June. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. Like I get this like stubble thing, and it's thick, but that's about it. But I don't know. If I can only imagine me wearing a beard, dude. It ain't happening. Liz would kill me. She's like, get rid of that. So
hey, man, you never know. Maybe you grow it out and it changes the style sometimes for people.
Maybe I'll look like the get the dad life, backpack, like all the baby gear, tactical dad, the baby gear stuff. And when I have kids, I'll do a different phase of Brian.
There you go.
We'll do like the rugged Brian, like, oh gosh, this is ridiculous, man. So Beppes Lawn Care, if you guys are looking for more fertilizer questions and Q&A, I do try to get a lot of fertilizer guys on here because it's something I don't do, but I really did enjoy doing it when I was working at Trugan. I just didn't like the conditions. The chemicals and the stupid truck, man. They had an Isuzu, no air conditioning. I'm like, dude, really? Like, you couldn't invest the $2 a day for a stupid air conditioner on the lease and, a thimble of gas a day. Spraying when it's 90 degrees, your full PPE, that kind of bothered me. But overall, I didn't mind my experience at True Green. It taught me a lot. But I always try to throw out Pajak, yourself, my friend Bedell, Jason, he's down south, Jason Creel.
Yep.
So if you guys have questions, DM these guys on Instagram. I know all of them will DM you back. And if you ask nice and, they got the time, some of them will probably get on the phone with you. We're all busy running 100 miles an hour, but make those calls in the off season, November, December, January. For a lot of us up north, we're doing snow, but we got a little bit more time. And by the way, for some of you guys who are listening in, I want to get the other part of the Trinity on. I need to get some irrigation techs.
Yeah.
Because I want to know more about irrigation. So if any of you guys have a medium to large size irrigation company, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, Brian's Law Maintenance 2007@gmail.com. I want to get a couple of irrigation guys on because I want to, we need them to round out this Trinity. And irrigation is a super profitable business. It's a very fun business. There's a lot of money to be made in it. And those guys, watering is life for all what we do.
Yeah.
So
without them, there wouldn't be, or HOAs or condos or apartments or homes wouldn't look the way they do. Without them servicing them.
Well,
vice versa,
Well, one of the HOAs I have, it's an anchor account for me. We went from 18 cuts to 26 cuts because we got the freaking water working. And I was like, dude, in terms of like dollars and cents mowing, it went from, let's say, I don't know, $4 or $5 grand of mowing to $8-9 grand of mowing because we were able to almost double that up because we got the water working. And it took about a year to fix all this. We replaced like 60 heads.
Wow.
Probably, it's probably a quarter of the heads for the property. So, there's, 7 acres there that they irrigate. But, so if you guys are an irrigation tech, hit me up. I'm not going to say I'm going to get everybody on the show, but I want to get 1 or 2 of you guys for sure. And if you have a good company, you've been doing it for 5 or 10 years, hit me up. But, because we want to get your guys' thoughts too to round this whole, topic out. But, man, I work with my FERT guys. Like when I see a FERT tech on my properties, I'm always like, hey dude, can if they're fertilizing my lawns and I mow on a Tuesday and they happen to have just sprayed, I'm like, hey man, can you put in the notes, like no Tuesday apps, and a lot of the bigger guys can work around us versus like the mowing guy, trying to double back because we're in different parts of town, different days. But I love my FERT guys, my FERT friends, man. They make the lawns look beautiful. I'm always thanking Bedell, and I know he makes some really good margin on that. So, and shout out to you as well, bro, getting your life going.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're 24. You got the whole new bike, bro. You work hard, you play hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's all. It's so cool. Again, what kind of bike is it?
It's a Honda CB.
See how it lights up, by the way?
It's a Honda CB 650R.
Okay. You got to make a post on it on Instagram so people can see.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I can do that.
So that way, when they all see this next week, they can all see the bike that we're talking about. And I'm going to put it on mine too. I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're living at home. You're living below your means. You're doing everything pretty much debt free, probably, right? So you got your finances in order.
We take some equipment out on or loans out on equipment, but
overall,
pay them off pretty much every single one early, and they all make sense. You know, they're not like just because. And
you do snow too, right?
Yes.
Well, let's get you back October, November. We'll talk snow.
All right.
Because you've been doing snow for how many seasons?
Since 2014.
Okay.
Doing homes, and then I got a plow truck shortly after that, and been doing commercials since then.
We're going to start busting out some snow episodes. I got one coming with Bedell shortly after this episode. We're going to get Troy Clogg on, talk snow. So if you guys are in the Midwest and Northeast, you guys do a lot of snow, we'll talk that. So let's get you back over here October, November, and maybe by the time then I'll have my 4-wheeler. We'll go tear it up, and
nice.
We'll do a double day. We'll go ride our quads and 4-wheelers, and we'll go bust out a podcast.
Sounds good. Be game for that.
Awesome. All right. So people can find you at Beppes Lawn Care
on Instagram. Yep.
And then Joseph Dipace.
Yep, that's my personal Instagram, Joseph Dipace. Yep.
Cool. And any love interest yet? Or are you single?
Single, yeah. Married to the game right now.
See, that's an Italian right there, bro. You got the gold chain on too, bro. Oh my gosh. You guys crack me up, man. Every one of y'all are personality, man. Y'all got like your little quirks about you. And Lord knows I'm about as sharp as a marble as well. So, but all right. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming over.
Thank you.
I think this podcast was super valuable and insightful and just a fun one for these guys to listen to. If you guys enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us those all important 5-star ratings and reviews, and it really does go a long way to getting the show surfaced and that social proofing. So if you're on iTunes, all you do is you click all episodes, you scroll all the way down, or you see it says see reviews, hit the 5-star, leave a couple sentences. They post a couple days later. Those really do a lot for us, and we really do appreciate it. So that's it. Joseph, thanks again so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Awesome, bro. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's it for this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered. We'll send it back over to Mr. Producer, and we're over and out. We'll see you guys.
Superb show, Brian, and thank you to Joseph for being a part of it, and thank you to you for being a part of it. Without you, there's just a bunch of guys talking in a room. Hey, a great way to connect with the team here at Fullerton Unfiltered is to visit l'entrepreneuracademy.com. Gotta say, I'm grateful that Google can figure out what it is that I'm trying to search for when I try to spell l'entrepreneur. You would think after 6.5 years of high school that I would get it right, but just do your best to put it into the search engine, let it do the work, or of course, check the show notes for a direct link. By the way, when you visit the website, you can get access to the downloadable commercial contract form that Brian uses in his business. It is a powerful way to grow your commercial sales. You'll get a 15-minute explainer video that teaches you how to put the form to work in your business, plus free updates to the form for life as we continuously make improvements to it. For Brian and Liz, I'm Mr. Producer, thanking you for investing your valuable time with us.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.